Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Michael.
My name is Cleve.
And welcome back to another exciting episode of
Friendship Supreme.
Where the podcast that dares to ask, did we really need another Steven the Universe movie? And I say another because technically when they filmed the Fusion Wedding...
Did you consider that a movie?
It was a movie on Cartoon Network. Remember, it was like the...
Well, this was a movie on Cartoon.
This was like an actual movie, but like they had it separated as episodes later on. But when they first showed that one, it was all one like.
Did they have
hour
commercial
long.
breaks?
Yes.
This didn't have commercial breaks.
It didn't. No.
So maybe that's what the difference is.
I pirated it. I mean, no, I didn't.
Yeah, this one was a consecutive, like, sit down, the movie's about to come on. Hopefully you have some sort of DVR, because...
Oh, no, I watched it through the Cartoon Network app. So I watched it legitimately, and it had commercials every 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And they were like 2-minute commercials. It was painful.
That sounds rough. This movie or the other movie?
This one.
Okay. Nope. If you watched it the day it came out, it was a solid hour.
Nice. Yeah.
It was. Maybe that's why, apparently we have different feels on the movie.
So we are doing a episode where we will be reviewing the new Steven Universe movie.
Review.
What was it called?
Steven Universe movie.
Oh, okay.
that was the name of the movie. And to which I say, the first problem I had with it, movie or musical?
It could have been called a musical, and I think I would have bought it.
Oh, it was
more, but
a musical.
it was. They pointed out they did sing. At first, I was so my first critique of it is that my original complaint to Cleve was that it did not have enough songs. And as he's pointed out to me before we started recording, they definitely did. They had, 16 songs, I think you said?
Yeah.
But I guess I felt like they seemed so similar to me, a lot of them, that it felt like they were just running on.
They were. They did kind of, we sang the song this way, and now that we've learned a lesson, or whatever the case may be, we're singing it with, it could be verse after verse after verse, but I think that they're different enough, and we'll get into them. And I think there's one particular one that has a slight difference to me that makes it a different song.
So we've talked about it a couple times here on this podcast, but maybe not enough. Cleve and I, adamant fans of Steven Universe, like big fans of Steven Universe. Stephanie kind of, but not really. We brought her over with Rebecca Sugar from Adventure Time, but then she kind of just faded out.
You need to catch up, man. You're missing good stuff.
Well, is it on like Hulu or Netflix or anything? It's just on Cartoon Network.
Hulu has Steven Universe, but I don't remember how far they get.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of the seasons. So I've seen like the first few seasons, but I haven't seen.
You've seen enjoyable parts. You've seen really good songs
Lots
and
of
stuff
things
like
have
that.
happened since then.
Yeah, I don't recognize some of these characters.
Sounds accurate.
I took a lot of notes. I'm going to review the movie. I'm going to point out when songs got kicked in, and then we'll go over how we feel about it. But I'll be reviewing the movie. I'll be hitting bullet points for when certain things take place, and then we'll go over our thoughts. If you have thoughts that you want to bring in once I've mentioned the scene, or if you want to save it to the end, it's your call.
I'll probably interject because that's what I like to do.
He does do that. So we start off with this.
Do you guys even like me? Are we actually friends?
Well, you have all the equipment, so. We open with this weird Disney intro.
Yeah.
And it was so odd. Like the melody, the first song is A Tale of Steven. And I was like, this is really Disney-ish. But I appreciate, because then they hit it right on the nose with like zooming in on this book and opening up and telling the story of what Steven's been through. And I was like, okay, as long as we're addressing that this is very Disney-ish, I'm okay with it being super Disney-ish. Before then, I had a big problem with it. The gyms are there. We go to Homeworld, where it's Steven and the Diamonds. The Diamonds are like, Steven's gonna take the throne, and he's like, I'm not. And then he leaves. Second song, which was "Let Us Adore You," which is basically the Diamonds trying to get Steven to stay there, and he's like, "Yeah, I got a life." So then Steven leaves, and it's a 2-year gap from when Steven finally talked to the Diamonds and stopped being crazy, into now, and you can kind of tell they're still kind of crazy,
Yeah.
but they're working on it.
But I really liked them.
Yeah.
Like, I hated Yellow Diamond. Not even just because she was mean. I just didn't care for the character. And for the first time ever, I'm like, oh, I like Yellow Diamond.
Yeah, she was enjoyable. They were all better than they were, but that's the point. Is they're 2-year gap of them trying to be better than they were. We tell Connie goodbye. She's gone for the movie, really.
Yeah.
And then we have
Like
like
a space camp.
we have a 2-year checkup on everybody. Basically, what everybody's been doing, how they've been doing. That's where we get the next song, which is "Happily Ever After." Where everything's going great. They have a beautiful world. Everything's going nice. And then we have our villain protagonist, Spinel, who shows up. And she has this weapon, and she poofs the diamond, the gems, the crystal gems. She tries to poof Steven, but because Steven's half human, he doesn't poof. And Steven hits her with the weapon. We find out he tries to bubble her away, and he can't do it, and he's not sure why he can't do it. Steven's dad goes to the house to meet up with Steven. I guess Steven called him and was like, hey, things are not going well. You're the last person I know that could probably maybe help me with what I have going on. And the gems have basically been reset. Their memories, everything's wiped. It's like anything that you have like just a smooth hold down for 3 seconds and reset has happened.
Yep,
everybody's in default setting, basically. They go to see the other crystal gems, which is bismuth, lapis, and peridot. And Spinel gives them the idea, because Spinel's also been wiped. So now she went from trying to kill everybody to super friendly. And it takes everybody a minute to adjust to each person. You have to watch them understand, like, oh, okay, hold on, we're okay with her right now because she's not trying to kill us.
While she's doing this the whole time.
Yeah, she has a real Steamboat Mickey like vibe to her.
Cuphead.
Yeah, the Cuphead video game. Yeah, lanky arms. She's always dancing around. Real in a cartoon, really cartoonish.
It felt really off. Like, that was my first complaint, was that she felt really out of place.
She felt really out of place to Michael, but I feel like the art style in which they did her was well done.
I don't think it was badly done. I just think that
Yeah.
I mean, Steven Universe, one of the big reasons I like the show as much as I do is because I think it's really beautiful animation or beautiful art. And I feel like it took away from it. It was like super campy and was, I don't know.
Oh, I missed the song. When Spinel murdered everyone, she sang her song Other Friends. And so Pearl has this great song to me when she's rebooted and she's like introducing everybody. It's got a nice little like cheerful tempo to it. So
She's explaining what all the gems do.
yeah,
in a
their
normal
purposes.
capacity.
Yeah. There's a couple jokes in that song that I thought were really funny and whatnot. So they force Garnet to fuse, hoping that would bring back her memory. It doesn't. But I feel like watching the whole movie, that little section where she's finding herself again was probably the best scene, one of the best scenes to me. Because you have Sapphire on one side and Ruby on the other side, and they both look like Garnet, but they're still their own individual colors and they're still wearing their own clothes. And as they go to lock hands, like where they overlap is where you see Garnet's colors. And so they eventually match hands, they match face, and they all become one. I feel like that was one of the cooler ways that we've seen the fusion kind of explained. Because it's usually like white lights, new person.
Yeah, I think that Garnet seems to be a real fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like we invest a lot more time.
You know
and effort
why?
into Garnet.
Because Estelle's the cooler one of all of them.
Yeah.
So you didn't watch. You watched it on the website. I watched it, and they had like a red carpet, and everybody was there. And Estelle's wearing like her hair's real curly, and she's wearing these big sunglasses and like these old lady chain, like connected to her glasses. And doesn't miss a beat of looking cool whatsoever. I don't understand how she pulls off everything she pulls off, but she does it phenomenally. So, we'll speed through. Hijinks ensue. We get back Amethyst first, and then we get back Pearl, and then
I think Amethyst's comeback song is my favorite song. When they're sitting on the train singing
No matter
to
what.
themselves, I don't know. I think that was the one song that was like, oh, I really liked it. Granted, again, they all felt like they sounded the same, but I felt like that moment was actually my favorite moment as far as between gyms, because each gym, and I may be ruining your explanation, I'm sorry. Each gym had to remember something that brought them back.
yeah, Spinell has the idea of, well, why don't you do it like a puzzle? And if you give them all the pieces, they'll make the picture. And so he's like, okay, I need to remind each gym of who they are for them to remember who they are. Basically, like getting over amnesia.
Right, and I think so. And I think the reason I liked Amethyst's interaction so much more than the rest of them was Garnet's was about truth, because if you faced truth, then as long as you stood for truth, and you be on the right side or whatever. It's essentially her. Pearl's was rebellion and losing someone she loved, but Amethyst was my favorite. Was essentially just like when she came out of the kindergarten, she had nobody.
Yeah.
She didn't know what to do. She was literally a blank slate, and at that a runt, and had no idea what she was supposed to do. And that's why she started copying Steven all the time. She just didn't know how to interact with people. But her coming to Jesus moment essentially was like finding friendship and love, like finding that friendship and family.
Yeah,
feeling.
hers is the easiest one to knock out.
Right.
But I will say, so Garnet's was truth, and Pearl's was, you said, rebelling.
They kept talking about rebelling against her.
I saw it as thinking and standing up for yourself.
Well, and that's because remember they said they wanted to bring out like the rebellion in her and remind her why she wanted to rebel.
I saw Garnet's as being true to who you are. Because the fusion was her. Two different gems fusing was like the blasphemy
It
of
was taboo. It's
of
not
the homeworld. So Spinell, when she lands, she drops this drill that is basically pouring toxic into the earth. That you can't move it, you can't do anything to it. You have to get it to stop on its own. They finally get Spinell to remember who she is. So Spinell is a character, a gem that is created just for entertainment. She's just supposed to be this jester clown and always be smiling and always be trying to get people to laugh. She takes nothing seriously, and she would belong to Pink Diamond. Pink Diamond was given Earth as her first colony, and Spinell's just so excited to go with her. And what Pink Diamond does is she says, we're going to play a game. You wait right here, and I'll be back. And then never comes back for her. What's right?
She got Charmandered.
To the point where she was there for 6,000. They put a date on it. She was there for 6,000 years. To the point where she stood in one spot for so long that when she finally decided to move, it zooms in on her foot, and you can see her like stepping, and the roots that have grown around her foot start to break from her finally stepping up. And her song, I think, is like the sadder of the songs, because it's about it's called Drift Away. And in the song she says, you know, I'm standing here and I'm wondering if I'm even doing right what you're asking of me. I'm just waiting for you to come back. I can't wait for you. Basically like leaving a puppy, and then just like the Michael was saying, the Pokemon episode, leaving a puppy behind forever. And so obviously this hits a nerve with her, and she goes crazy and wants to kill Steven, who she sees as now Pink Diamond doesn't even exist, so she was never going to come back for her. And now Steven gets to live this happy life while she's miserable. It's essentially what the whole thing comes down to. Then Spinel stops the drill, and Steven's like, okay, great, now we can get back to what we were doing. And Spinel's like, okay, so you just were going to use me, and now you're going to go. I thought you were trying to befriend me, and now you don't need me anymore. She threatens to kill Garnet, and that's what makes Garnet remember the truth. And then there's a big fight between Steven and Spinel, which I think is the first time Steven's just been punched in the face. Like, because usually the fights, like, he bubbles himself or the gems are there, he just gets, like, he gets a nosebleed, like, he just gets punched. And they're fighting, and Steven's still trying to reason with her, because that's more or less his character, is, I don't really want to kill anybody, I don't really want to fight with anybody. And she gets to this realization, she's like, I don't even know why I'm mad at you, I'm not this kind of person, this is not who I am. She finally settles down, and it's after, like, they do too much damage to the drill, and it explodes. But apparently it's okay for it to explode, because nothing bad happened from it. It just exploded, and they were like...
No, in the end of the movie, they're talking about how they need to clean it all up.
Yeah, and rebuild. But, yeah, like, it just... He's like, oh, I guess that's one way to get rid of it. Then the Diamonds come and visit, and they're like, Steven, we want you to live here with us. Or we're going to live here with you now. Because you don't want to live with us, we're going to come live with you. But the Diamonds are still in this mindset of, like, they're high royalty, and everybody else is underneath them. And they hate Earth. They hate how it looks. They hate everything about it.
Keep talking about how it smells.
Not to mention that it's been through quite a rough couple of hours. Like,
day, yeah.
And they're like, Steven's like, I got this great idea. Spinel feels terrible about what she's done. You know, do you guys remember her? Here she is. And they come to a realization, it's like, we're missing our pink diamond. She's missing her diamond. And then they go and fly off together. And that's where it just about ends. And they rebuild the town. Everybody's happy again. The end.
Yep.
Michael did not really enjoy the movie very much.
Didn't.
I enjoyed it very much. Let's talk about why.
So I don't get emotional about a lot of things. I got super emotional about Spinell's character.
Spinell was a great character.
I thought it was a great character. I hated the animation, and I felt like it took away from it. But I liked I will give them credit because I did like you could tell as her as she was slowly coming back to being Spinell, and not bubbly, happy, excited Spinell. You could tell that her animation was changing, so like she stopped being bouncy. She stopped like she went from haha this is fun to I'm a psychopath. You know, I want to murder people. I don't even know where to start. Why I don't like this. So first of all, like I said, I'll just hit points, and if you want to talk to me about them, you can, I guess. Reasons I didn't like the film. I thought that the songs were too similar. There were a couple of songs that I thought were really good, but otherwise I thought the rest were really similar. I loved Sadie's song.
Really?
Yeah, I really liked Sadie's songs.
Of all of them.
Maybe it's because it was talking about, like, I hate work and work sucks, and like I just want to rebel.
So the sad songs is what...
No, like it was
attitude
it was
ones.
good. Yeah, it was good. Like I thought it was like it was the modern version of Take This Job and Shove It. But like it was good because when it was being sung to Pearl, it made so much sense, like as far as the development of the character of Pearl, because we don't, like, in all reality, I always thought this about the show, was Pearl didn't get enough development as a character, because anytime we ever talked about Pearl, we always lumped in Rose Quartz. Like it was never just Pearl by herself. It was always, well, Pearl was obsessed with Rose Quartz, that's why she did this, or Pearl was protecting Rose Quartz, or Pearl doesn't like Steven because Rose Quartz is gone because of Steven, or Pearl didn't like Greg because of the relationship between Rose Quartz but like in this particular instance, we finally get to see kind of her breaking, like from the beginning of us knowing Pearl, she was always kind of like her own thinker, and we finally got to see her break the mold of being a normal Pearl. We never saw that before. Like before, she's always been a freedom fighter. Pearl, she was even like in when we find out that Rose Quartz is actually Pink Diamond. Even in that, we still see her being kind of the rebellious type of Pearl, which is not what they're supposed to be. So I thought that was really kind of a cool interaction between the two. But that being said, is one of my least favorite scenes happens right after that. And I kind of already, before we even started recording, talked to Cleve a little bit about this. I hated for some reason Steven Universe and Greg Universe fusing.
Yeah, so Steven and his dad fuse in an attempt to... So they realize that Pearl, it's almost like... when a baby duck sees the first person they see that's mom, Pearl, when she's reset, that's her mindset. And the first person she sees is Greg, and so she's all about Greg all the time. But that's what Pearls are, and that's what Pearls do, is they're only about the one person that's in charge of them, and that's it. So in order to make Greg go away the way that Rose went away, is that he fuses with Steven and creates this... Because Steven can fuse with humans. I disagree with Michael's input on the lack of development for Pearl. I feel like she had the deepest root, and that's because she was
I would tell you Garnet,
the right hand.
because, like I said, the whole Garnet being the favorite,
Well,
like a fan favorite.
because Pearl's been there since the beginning. She was like the right hand man, and so it's odd to me that it you think of it as a lesser, because to me she's like a... I'm sorry, were you talking or was I talking?
We're having a conversation.
Well, I thought, but usually there's
I'm waiting for you to stop.
she, to me, I know there was a love aspect that they try to hint on and not hint on at the same time because it's still a kid's cartoon, but I saw her as a like samurai warrior, and when your master's gone, what do? You're basically lost because the one person you assigned your life to is no longer there. And I think I liked her development probably more out of maybe Garnet, just because her whole thing is leading to that. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to find who I am. I'm still dealing with it, even though it's been however many years since she knew that her and
Thousands.
Pearl weren't going to be together. I mean, her and Rose weren't going to be together. But yeah, so they fuse, and it is a weird scene because they make like a sexy character.
See, and this is why I tried to interject, because now we're on to a new thing.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I just think that's why it was. That's okay.
No, go ahead.
No, my point about Pearl was the fact that we never have anything about her past. Nothing about her past other than when it's about Rose Quartz.
Well,
we know all about Amethyst's past. We know all about Garnet's past.
Amethyst's past is like a
right, but we know about it. We even get the whole Vidalia, I think is her name. We get that whole little weird relationship between Amethyst and Vidalia.
I feel like Pearl's, now that you see her rebooted, it's like, what passes her to give her? She's a gem. Well, she says, "Who's in charge of me?"
But
and then she starts.
So something had to have happened from when she was a gem to when she decided that she was going to rebel, and that was my point. It's like you got to finally see her kind of come to that realization that I don't have to follow people's orders.
But the reason she rebelled is because Rose rebelled, or Pink Diamond rebelled. Pink Diamond was in charge of her. Pink Diamond left. She left with Pink Diamond.
No, because you see scenes where she's with Pink Diamond where she's definitely not your typical Pearl. Like, they're playing around together. They're very flirtatious.
I think that has... But I think that has to do because of Pink Diamond. Because Pink Diamond was not a typical diamond. You know what I mean? Like,
very true.
All the other ones were really strict, and she was almost... She was the Spinel of that group, which was just jokey and playful. I mean, it's like it's weird because it's not like raising a kid, but if you have someone from I don't know anything else, and you're around them all the time, they would pick up characteristics, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, no, then Steak happens.
Yeah,
I only give him that name because that's what the captions give him.
I didn't mind him terribly. I enjoyed their song, which was "Independent Together." Like, we can stand up for ourselves, but we can still be a team. Yeah, it was weird because he had more. He had like a mullet,
Yeah.
like a Johnny Bravo mullet, but no, not Johnny Bravo because it went out, not up.
An anime character I was trying to think of, but I can't think of one.
Abs, which neither of them have. But I guess if you fuse and make something stronger, it would look
I
stronger.
don't know. They over sexualized the character.
He did thrust quite a bit, which was odd. But he was also playing a guitar when he did it. So I'm like, I think maybe they were going for an Elvis, and that's
Yeah.
why he came out like that.
I could see that.
But it was odd, especially when it's a father and a son. Because Michael was saying that fusions usually almost seems like an intimate thing. I didn't see it as an intimate past, like best friends would be.
yeah, I mean,
It
because
can
technically,
be, but it doesn't.
because technically, Steven and Connie aren't romantic with each other at the time when they formed Stevani.
Right.
But it's still, I don't know. It feels like there needs to be more of a bond, and I get that they're father and son, but Rose and Greg never fused.
Because they couldn't.
Why? What's
Because
the difference between?
because Steven's half human. That's why he confused with Connie also.
But see that in itself doesn't make sense to me. Then, like them fusing together.
To make Steven? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, like how did Steven come to be that?
Oh, I mean, that's going to be one of the ones that you can chalk up to the side of not getting an answer for, and I have a couple more like that too. Like
I don't know.
like Lion's history. We don't get anything about Lion, which I was hoping maybe we would get a smidge of something.
They don't even talk about Lion. Like Lion didn't exist when Spinel existed, so it wasn't like.
Yeah,
was a
it had to
ping
be
pong
on
event.
Earth because it was a lion, and I never saw an animal
Yeah.
on the home world.
Um.
Also Lars, greatly, like, you went from being like this captain of this rebellious team to now I just work at the donut shop again,
Yeah.
and like cheer in the background. Like, he was there. That's all he did was one time he was there, and that was
No,
it.
my other problem with Steg was that he tried to, in some weird way, they tried to rebuild the relationship between Steg and Pearl that Pearl had with Rose Quartz. So, like, it almost felt like they were also making a pass at Pearl. Like, a lot of, I don't know, gestures and lyrics felt like they were aimed towards Pearl, and that's weird to me because it's Steven and Greg.
I feel like you might be watching this with an adult mind, and you need to turn that switch off.
No, because they do a lot of adult things. Let's be honest. There's a lot of times where they have weird adult overtones to a lot of their stuff. That's why it appeals to a lot more adults than other cartoons do. You don't think so?
I mean, I feel like it can be. There's lessons in the show, lessons that could be put towards real life. Like, I feel like every one of Garnet's songs could be part of your relationship with your spouse. But I don't know. Like I said, I never saw fusion as. It depends on the person.
Because think about when Garnet freaks out about Pearl lying about why they're fusing.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say. That's why I said it depends on the person, because she's the one that makes it seem like, well, and Pearl, but only with Rose, where it seems like this is a very adult, like, relationship versus, like you said, Connie and Steven, or Amethyst and Steven. Amethyst and Steven have
Right. No.
not even close to any kind of weird.
No, and that's why I said I don't necessarily think it has to be romantic, but there are definitely times where it feels like it, and there's always felt like an adult overtone to all of it to me.
And I feel like the adult level to it is what makes the fusion stronger, like Garnet. Because those two genuinely love each other, and that's why they're able to just hold the fusion and never break. As opposed to everybody else who will split randomly, or they're like, okay, we're done, and they kind of break off. Because I mean, if anybody else got along the way that Ruby and Sapphire did, then they would want to stay that way, I guess. I don't know.
Pearl wanted to stay that way.
But did she?
She did. She wanted to stay fused with Garnet because it made her feel powerful. She kept making excuses to make it happen. And then they split up because Garnet wanted to split up.
And see, that's what makes me wonder. Like, I don't think well, obviously, Amethyst and Pearl don't see it the same way that Garnet sees it, because Garnet takes it to that next stage of, I don't know, because it's not like a consent thing, because there's even Lapis and Jasper who fuse, and it's like it's an angry thing, which also makes it mean that there's not necessarily a tight relationship that has to even be built. It can just be a thing.
No, relationships are toxic, or not great relationships, so maybe that's a symbolization of that. I don't know. I might over adult it. I don't think that they're all butt naked having sex. I mean, like, to me, it just is more of a intimate connection. And when I say intimate, I don't necessarily mean it has to be physical sex. I just mean there is more of a connection than just, oh yeah, hey, we need to fuse so that we can sing this song real quick and, flirt with Pearl. It just seemed odd and unnecessary. That was where I feel like it was fan service. Like, people liked Greg as young. You remember everybody freaked out about young Greg being hot for some reason. It was a weird.
I guess I chalked it up to the performance of it,
because that's kind of
because it was at a concert and it was a show, and it's not like they're in a bedroom together and he's like, "Remember me now." Like, but no, I wrote that down. Like, it was
unnecessary.
It was oddly, but I guess how are you supposed to make that character act? Like, he's gonna be an over the top, whatever.
Steven and Greg are both super dorky. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no reason to ever make him Johnny Bravo.
I mean, Greg is dorky as an adult, but
he was dorky as a kid too. He's saying, "Let me drive my van into your heart."
But he also had that comment song, and that song was about him making it big and taking off, and I like his new look. He had a neck. That was cool.
Did you see when Rebecca Sugar was talking about how she had to hold it back for like a year and a half?
Yeah.
Or she would draw pictures for people and couldn't draw them with necks.
Yeah.
Weird thing to have to think about.
I got disappointed because there's a song called That's Who We Are, where Bismuth kind of gets Steven back on track of not being super depressed and sad, and that he's not going to be able to do it. And I really thought that we were going to get those three Crystal Gems time to shine, and then we didn't.
Yeah, they had a brief moment of...
They were working on the drill the whole time, I get that, but they could have, besides getting Steven back on track, they really didn't do anything. No. I thought they were going to give them more time to shine, since it was the movie in the last run.
Especially why else bring Bismuth back if we're not going to at least let her do something.
Well, she came back during the wedding, remember?
Yeah.
So she...
No, I know. I just meant, like, why even include her? Like, there was lots of random gems on the Earth now because they were building what they call it, small homeworld.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I guess that was her one role was... She's been the oldest Crystal Gem still around. So it's like, hey, I know things look tough, but we'll do it. And she sings about how I've known Garnet longer than any of you guys, and I've seen them get through crazy, crazy things, and they'll be fine. We just have to stick by them. I don't know if you knew that Chance the Rapper assisted in some of the music.
No.
Yeah, he apparently... The only thing I saw that he had his hand in heavily was the True Kind of Love, which is probably the catchier of the songs. Just the melody and the tone. I think that soulful.
Was, like, walking away from it, I was talking to Katie about the songs. She asked me why I didn't like them. I think they sounded more like actual songs you'd hear on the radio and less like songs I'm used to in the show. Uh-huh. And that would make sense that someone else was involved in it, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, what I have a little quote that she said here. She said, "We started working on True Kind of Love together, which he had a huge hand in. He really wanted to capture his feeling of a kid swinging their arms, this really free, positive feeling that had to do with the rhythm of the word true, and just the mentality of it. It was amazing to me how what you're thinking could change so much about a song, because when I write songs, I'm like, here's the lyrics, here are the chords. It was very bare bones for me. That's really changed my whole way of thinking. The execution now, it's clear to me how crucial it is. I started to think about music a lot more like the way that I think about drawing, where subtle changes can really alter the character of the piece of music. So basically, like, she was just writing songs, and he was like, "This is how I want you to feel when you hear this song."
Yeah.
And you get, that's probably one of the more cheerful of the songs. But I feel like I said, all her songs to me,
Honestly,
out
I
of
love her
everyone's
songs.
songs, all the gems, I think hers are the best ones.
Garnet specifically.
Yeah.
Well, I would tell you that all of Rebecca, even before I would tell you Rebecca Sugar, most of her songs have had some kind of feeling behind them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not apparently to her.
I mean, I think she got the point across,
Yeah.
and he was really like, I want you to, like, be able to listen to this as you skip down the street. As opposed to she's like, I want to sing this song to you, and this is the song.
Yeah.
But other than that, I enjoyed Simple Garnet. Before she got her memories back,
No, I agree.
she was so cheerful. She's like, "Oh, what's this?" And like Steven and Spinell are fighting, and he's like, "Hey, what's wrong? Are you guys okay? Well, I thought we were all
Yeah.
friends. Why are you so mad?"
No. I thought it was interesting watching Garnet fight and use the other gems as weapons. I don't know if you know, like, she, like, partly was trying to protect them, but at the same time, I felt like there was multiple times she used Steven as a slingshot almost.
It seemed like a real fastball special.
Yeah.
Like when Colossus would take Wolverine and throw him at someone, kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
They were like swinging off each other, and it was more of like a teamwork. Like, we fought together for so long, like we can execute like this and all be one rhythm, but they didn't do that in the first fight, and they got whipped, and that's partially how it happened. I feel like you get a good sense of Spinell from the beginning. Like, the song Other Friends, she's like, oh, these are your other friends, which would have meant she had to have been a friend at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed also, I didn't notice it till I watched it the second time, during when Steven's giving his announcement, you can see Spinell.
Oh, no.
There's a scene where it cuts to it, and you can see her foot and the roots going over it. You know, when it's like shot, like
Right.
hopping from everybody watching it. Did you have any other thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
I thought when every time one of the gems remembered who they were, it went through like the cycle of different forms that they've taken. I enjoy when Garnet finally got hers and came back, that her rings came up,
Yeah.
like
It
fused
was
on.
cute.
Yeah,
Seeing the wedding rings.
because she wears both of them.
Oh, okay.
She wears one on this hand and one on this hand for each gem, and they're each a different color. But I mean, I liked her. Like I said, I liked her fusion a lot. I liked the "we tried to kill Steven" joke. That was funny. When Spinell forgets her memory and they go to see Bismuth, Lapis, and Peridot, they say, "I thought she was trying to kill you," and she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah, she's okay now." And Peridot's like, "That's a fast turnaround. It took me a couple of months to stop trying to kill you."
Yeah.
And Bismuth was like, "Oh, it took me a couple of days." And then Lapis was like, "I'm still kind of on the fence every once in a while," and they kind of laugh it off.
Anyways, let us know what you guys thought down below in the comments. Make sure to hit like or subscribe.
Why are you looking at me?
Let me know if you, let me know how much you agree with Cleve, because you guys all send to anyway.
All 36?
Yeah.
36 people agree with Cleve.
You can find us at Friendship Supreme just about everywhere.
Yeah, just type it into Google at this point.
Yeah,
We're that big.
we're
We're
there.
Google big.
We're Google big. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought. I've been Michael.
This is Cleve, and if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs.